seat.
Nobody's in the seat, then I ain't taking, son.
So this is Sabacc.
Sabacc.
Yo, what is up? Welcome back to Sabacc the Block, the official First Cut Star Wars show. We are back on another Thursday night here with another special guest here to talk about all the good Star Wars news and goodies coming out in the world. I'm here with Andres Gallego. What's up, man?
What up, dude? Thank you so much for having me, man. I've been listening to the show for quite a bit, so it's kind of surreal for me to, be here talking to you. You know what I mean? And also, I just got the notification on my phone saying that we went live, so it's like, oh, wait, I'm here. So here we go.
That's amazing, man.
No, but it's good to see you. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, man. Appreciate having you on the show. Obviously, you're a Star Wars fan, and we're going to talk all about it and break it down. So just like we do on every episode, we always start off the show with a basic question, but it's the most important question. Andres, what is your Star Wars story?
Oh boy, it is one of those like indelible memories for me growing up where essentially I think I was around 5 or 6 years old when I saw the original trilogy on TNT one Sunday morning. Me and my dad, we were up at like 10, and then he was like, you know what, sit down, let's just watch this. And then I was like just seeing the Death Destroyer going after the Rebel Alliance and all that other stuff, and then just my mind was blown, and I automatically thought that Vader was like the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. And what ended up happening was, me and my dad, we just ended up watching not only A New Hope, but we ended up watching Empire Strikes Back right afterwards, and then going into Return of the Jedi. So it was just a really fun-filled day of just like, picture yourself being like 6 years old and sitting there and not having heard all the memes and everything about like, Luke, I am your father. And you're just like, what? Like, I remember literally looking at my dad and going, what? And then my dad was like, yeah. And then what ended up happening was I thought it was done right there. And then my dad's like, oh no, Return of the Jedi is the next one. And all I remember is literally rushing over to the kitchen, grabbing cookies, and then coming right back and then being like, all right, we're doing this. But yeah, it was such an indelible memory. And that really kind of opened up my love of fantasy and sci-fi, and just the added extra bonus of, the more thematic elements that go with Star Wars, where I was like, at that point in time, when you're 5 or 6 years old and you watch certain things where it's like, oh, the way anybody solves anything is you have to kill the other person. And this was sort of like that first time that I watched something and it was like, oh, he didn't have to kill his dad. He just had to talk. He had to relate to him. He had to remind him who he was. And that was a really formative experience. But yeah, but ever since then, I was fully obsessed with Star Wars. And it only went even further when, I kept hearing all these stories about the prequel trilogy that was supposed to happen. And it almost felt like a thing that was like, well, maybe it'll happen, maybe it'll not. Because my dad was going, listen, I've been waiting since 84, 85 for this thing to happen. And it was just one of those things where, again, you never think it could happen. And then when it started happening again, and then you find out that, as a kid, one of the first books that I read was actually, Shadows of the Empire. And that, you know what? I have a soft spot in my heart for Dash Rendar as well, too. And that is probably a big reason why. It's like, everyone's like, oh, you love the bootleg Han Solo? I'm like, hells yeah, I do. But yeah, no. So massive Star Wars fan from way back when in the day. I will admit, my viewing of certain things have kind of petered off, but, just in that original trilogy, first prequel trilogy type of stuff, still means a lot to me. I mean, there's a reason why I have a giant poster right behind me of Return of the Jedi. So there you go.
Yeah, it's amazing growing up in that era, right? That transition. I mean, obviously that transition's huge. So it's kind of a generalization on my part, but still that era of like you watch the OG trilogy, even if it's on a small screen, and then you lead into the sequels, like right before the sequels. And it really is amazing. I remember the sequels being pitched as like the origins of Darth Vader. That's kind of the pitch that it was. And it was so like exciting as a kid who loved Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah, what an amazing time, man. What an amazing time to be a kid and grow up with those films.
Yeah, and especially that was like also one of the first times that as soon as me and my dad we rewatched the movies and we found out that there was the announcement that episode 1 was getting shot, right afterwards they released the special editions of episode 4 and 5 and 6 in theaters. And that was one of those things where it was funny where me and my dad, we both didn't realize that they were coming out a month apart from each other. So I remember all we did was we went to go see the first one and it was huge. It was amazing seeing that on the big screen. And then we were just kind of sitting around waiting for the announcement of like Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And then we realized they already came out by the time that they came out with the VHS box set and they were all the special edition versions. So we were just like, oh, okay, well, we kind of missed out on it, but you know what? We at least got to see the first one in theaters.
Yeah, it really is amazing. Let's head right to the biggest news of the day, which is our Star Wars news of the day.
I heard a story about it.
So the big Star Wars news this week is all about Galaxy's Edge. Bot 2 is getting a remodeling, a reordering, whatever you want to call it. It is now going to be original trilogy themed. That means Darth Vader roaming. That means stormtroopers from the original trilogy movies. And it is a whole redesign that they have going on. And this is why apparently rides have been shut down near Batuu. I've heard rumors about that from Disney fans and stuff like that. So Andres, how are you feeling about this OG reconstruction, redesign, everything about Galaxy's Edge?
As somebody who never got a chance to go on Rise of the Resistance and any of these rides in its current state, it's kind of like, well, crap, man. I mean, like, I'm never going to be able to do that. But also at the same time, I was just talking about this with my wife. It's going to be a weird rebranding because, like, isn't everything just kind of the sequel trilogy as it is, and isn't Rise of the Resistance, isn't that like in depth, like indubitably freaking the sequel trilogy? Like there's really no way you can, I mean, unless, oh god, like I just had a bad thought cross through my head. Is like you can probably get away with Chewie being the lead in Rise of the Resistance, but then I'm starting to think, man, Disney's got that weird AI clause in their contracts. And I'm like, how much of that is going to be just them going, oh, we're going to bring back Luke and we're going to bring back Leia and all these other people and Han Solo because. So not to interrupt you real quick, but Rise of the Resistance, based on the release, is going to be extremely minor changes is what they said. So so for the most part, it'll stay all the same. I think they might change like maybe the outro video or something, but apparently the change is super minor. So I think that'll be they won't touch that too much, which is at least good for people who are fans of Rise of the Resistance like I am. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but in terms of like, I mean, they were also very vague on some of the changes. Like it's more cosmetic and more characters more than anything else, which is still just kind of like, I wish there wasn't necessarily like a flat out only the OG trilogy is going to be shown around. Like I kind of want there to be sort of like a mix. Like maybe one day it's OG trilogy, maybe one day it's prequel trilogy, maybe one day it's sequel trilogy, and so on and so forth. Or even as I was discussing with my wife, it was like, what if Florida is sequel trilogy, and what if
Hollywood?
Hollywood is current trilogy right now. So, I don't know. It just feels like kind of a waste to just throw away or change up whatever is already there. But honestly, on an IP basis, I can understand why, but at the same time, it's like, maybe just move forward and just see what you do with, I mean, with the fact that now, I mean, is it officially been confirmed that Filoni and his partner are going to be heading up Lucasfilm?
So it's not official, but I believe, based on the grapevine that is happening right now, it will become official soon. I believe it's going to be official pretty soon, and soon could be a month, it could be a week, but it's probably going to happen. They just released a video last night, I believe, where they did a welcome to Lucasfilm, like, if you work at Lucasfilm, you're special kind of thing, almost like an intro video for employees. And he was the last one to like welcome people in. So everyone was like, oh, it's probably going to happen soon. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Well, I mean, it's kind of a weird state that Lucasfilm is in right now, but sometimes change could be a good thing, sometimes it could be a bad thing, but I think just wait and see more than anything else. But back to your original point. I'm sorry, I digress. I'm of two minds about the change. I love the idea of being able to see some of the OG characters. I love the idea of being able to see Vader and some stormtroopers, but also I got a soft spot in my heart for Kylo Ren. I love Kylo Ren as a character, and it's one of those things where I think his story was kind of one of those that I felt like didn't get the due credit that it did or that it deserved. And the idea that a solo film was shut down, I was like, oh my God, I would have paid to have seen that with Soderbergh directing and writing. Man, sign me up for that. But anyway, I'm of two minds about it. How about you?
Yeah, I was disappointed. I can't lie. Obviously, I love the original trilogy. We'll get to it a little bit later on in the episode when it comes to bounty hunters, but I absolutely adore the original trilogy. It's some of my favorite movies of all time. So it's nothing against that. It just, for me, the thing that it's boiling down to is this almost erasing of the sequel trilogy that's been going on at Lucasfilm for the past couple of years. It happened, obviously, right here on this show as we were talking about it when it came to the 10-year anniversary of The Force Awakens. Zero, nothing. No acknowledgement. I think they released a tweet about like how some ships were modeled. And that was it. And I was like, this is how you celebrate a trilogy that meant a lot to a lot of people, to a lot of new generation of kids. And they focus on the loudest, meanest voices on the internet who despise the original trilogy. And it's like, how are you doing this to your own brand? I don't know. I've been disappointed with a lot of what Lucasfilm has done when it comes to the sequel trilogy. The biggest one is what you just named, right? The hump for Ben Solo. To me, that's them being extremely vocal. Like, even if they have like scripts, director, actor, who's like one of the best actors working today, and they still said no. And I'm convinced that is because it is sequel trilogy based and that they want to get away from that. The fact that they're getting rid of Kylo altogether. They said maybe Rey will appear sometimes, but they said for sure Kylo's gone. And I was like, hunt for Ben Solo. It feels like Lucasfilm is being very like mean. I don't know how else to say it. Mean-spirited and reactionary to haters of the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, they're placating to, honestly, it is a very vocal part of the fan base, but it's also one of those things too where like, just some of the people I chat with and just outside of the movie sphere, it's like anytime we get Star Wars, it's always a great thing. And it's always just something where, even if it is Rise of Skywalker, it's better than nothing. It's better than waiting 15 years in between movies for something to come out. But at the same time, it is one of those things where I think Disney has nobody to blame but themselves because they rushed into it. And also, again, being very reactionary and being very afraid to take risks. I mean, who knows what the Colin Trevorrow Skywalker script would have been, but from some of the images and some of the ideas that have been bantied around, that would have been I think it would have been a bigger swing, and I think it would have been a bigger like had more impact, because I think there was more thematic tanglements with everything that was going on in the first and the second films. So, it is what it is. But I think the big thing that Lucasfilm needs to learn going forward is to not be reactionary, and to sort of trust that when you go forward, you keep moving forward. I mean, can you imagine what, had Disney owned Marvel back during phase 1, what the Avengers would look like? Had, Iron Man 2, it made so much money, but also at the same time, it almost devalued that character to a certain extent. And also I remember people hating the first Thor movie when it came out as well too. And it was like, well, if Disney was listening to all these people way back when, they would have been like, maybe have Captain America be your lead, and maybe tone down Iron Man a little bit. Maybe just get rid of Thor. All right, fine, we'll do a Loki as a villain. But it's one of those things where sometimes you just have to just keep moving forward no matter what happens, and trust in your storytelling, and trust in your audience that they will come back around to a certain extent. Yeah,
that's exactly it. Yeah, just keep moving in a creative direction, and don't freak out when it comes to Twitter trolls. Like, I just can't understand how they literally, it feels like they're reading tweets, which is a ridiculous way to make movies. And considering, again, RB3, shout out RB3. The hottest take that my RB3 and I have is we hate the Sean Levy decision to make Starfighter. We, especially after Stranger Things, and after that article that came out last week, I just can't stand what they're doing. I just despise it. It feels like they're really trying to be safe by the numbers, status quo, and just the least offensive movie, the least creative, the least diverse movie. It just feels weird. It feels weird.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Sean Levy, I mean, he might be a great guy behind the scenes and all the other stuff, but he strikes me as the type of person that is sort of like a Ruben Fleischer, who, if you're having problems with your movie and it's in development hell, he will get it right out the door, and it doesn't have to be good. It just has to work. And, I mean, even the announcement of him doing Deadpool 3, I really liked Deadpool 3, but I think that's more of based on the fact that there is kind of a template with 2 movies ahead of you. But I kind of feel like a lot of those contributions that Levy did were very just, paint by the numbers to a certain extent. But, I did enjoy the movie, and who knows? I'm more than willing to be proven wrong. And what if the Starfighter movie comes out and it actually does kick ass, and we're like, holy crap, maybe give him another shot. But who knows? He's got a big hill to climb. So there you go.
Yeah, something I want to get to before we move on, Andres, is what are some Star Wars OG characters that you would like to see in Galaxy's Edge now that it's going to be original trilogy? Besides the Han, Leia, and Luke, because they're going to be there.
Oh, man. See, here's the thing. Immediately you say that right off the bat, and I will say one thing, and I know it's going to seem like such a basic bitch answer, but I want to see OG Boba Fett walk around, man.
Ooh, interesting.
I'm not talking about current day Boba Fett. I'm talking about, not as you wish. I'm talking about as you wish. You know what I'm saying right there? I want to see that old like mysterious character just roaming around. Like I almost kind of want it to be that he's not necessarily walking around taking photos. Like I just almost want it to be like he's just hanging out in the background somewhere, and I can already see it getting viral where it's like, I spotted Boba Fett in the background over there and he wasn't doing anything. Like you know what I'm saying about that? Like, yeah. I want it to be sort of an in character thing, but also on top of that, it's such an iconic look. And it's such a thing where, I mean, 6-year-old me would have been freaking out. And, that is number one right off the bat. But also Chewie. I want to see Chewie, but trying to think about the casting for that, especially for, like actors in particular to walk around in that. I know that's going to be tough. And I know, especially with a hot climate, that costume is going to be super freaking rough to get around, but I want to see Chewie. I know there's no way we'll be able to get Yoda, but yeah, no, but honestly, like, again, barring the three OGs, Han, Luke, and Leia. Oh man, see, and this is such a bullseye to nail, but a perfect Lando Calrissian, I think, would be amazing.
Awesome. Yeah,
But
Lando would be my choice. Lando would be awesome. Yeah.
oh yeah, like I almost can already just imagine like how many times people are just gonna walk up to him and he's gonna be like, Leia, welcome.
Yeah, if you get a great and there's so many great actors, obviously in that area, so I don't think it'll be hard. But if you get a great actor to really perform as Lando throughout the park, that'd be so freaking cool. I don't know if you have any RB3 at the top of your head as far as OG characters you would want to see.
OG characters. You
want Jabba roaming around?
No, that'd be kind of weird. I was gonna say, is it like just OG trilogy, or is it like also the time period? Because it's also
OG trilogy, yeah, specifically that time period, correct? Yeah.
Okay. Because what I was gonna say was, speaking to what you're saying, Andre, not squad leader Ace Andres, but you Andres, when talking about Filoni taking over, because Mandalorian is set like after the original trilogy, right? Like,
so I want to interrupt you, but yes, so he counts. He actually counts according to the press release. Mandalorian will be one of the roaming characters, like one of the official roaming characters. Like he'll probably be there daily. So the Mandalorian will be there. Yeah, he'll be there.
So that's what I'm kind of thinking. Like, Mandalorian. I mean, technically speaking, Andor and Rogue One are technically like in the original trilogy timeline.
That's a good one. I haven't even considered that. You're right. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And also that's what I was kind of thinking when y'all were talking. I don't want to hop into the middle of y'all conversation, but I kind of think that is a little bit of why they're moving into
because of Andor's success. Yeah.
Because of Andor, because Mandalorian and Grogu is coming out and also kind of shares that like sexual relationship, and plus they are getting ready to re-release the OG trilogy, like the OG Prince, you know what I'm saying, for the 50th anniversary. So it's like right now it's like all of these, with Andor, with Mandalorian, with OG trilogy re-release, that's kind of more of where the company synergy is right now. So I kind of think it makes sense on that level. It is kind of like erasure of the new trilogy, like you said, Andres, but it is, the new trilogy is extremely popular, but it's been so diluted by the toxic online fandom. It kind of does need to get to a place where we miss it again. Like the fans miss Rey and Kylo and all that kind of stuff, because like, this is the classic thing of like, we don't miss it. We don't miss you until you're gone, So yeah, maybe they should go away for a little while. Maybe fans will stop crying about, oh, Rise of Skywalker sucked. Oh, Last Jedi, they kissed. Like they'll get off of that bandwagon for a second, realize these were actually great movies. And then the generation of kids that watch the sequel trilogy for the first time, they'll now be adults. Now they could, start reintroducing that brand again. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel like, it's just kind of like a smart cycle. Unfortunately, they'll probably never cycle back to the prequels, because that's also the one other thing too. I'm speaking a lot. My bad, y'all. The sequel trilogy and the OG trilogy do kind of have the same look, like in a way, similar look. Versus if they're to go to the prequels, that'll be a complete, like, that'll cost $300 million bare minimum to like redesign, right? So it's like they're kind of going the easy way out with like this kind of redesign, but kind of not. Just by adding characters and timelines and stuff. But
that's fair. That's definitely a money-saving thing they probably did. That's a really good point. Yeah, regardless, on the positive side, I love Han, I love Luke, and I love Leia. That's a great trio that I've followed, obviously, throughout my whole life. And if you have to choose one, Andres, what character would you want to interact with the most out of those, out of the OG trio?
The OG trio. Oh my God. See, I'm gonna have to go Luke. I'm gonna have to go Luke
Yeah,
because
that's a good one.
Luke to me is, I mean, just even Luke changed my perception of what a hero was when I was 6 years old. And it was one of those things where it was like, you know what? Everyone is telling him you need to kill your dad. And he's going, no, I'm going to save him. And it's like, how can you save him? He's so far gone. And I remember even as a kid, like thinking, no, he's gonna have to kill him. And then just seeing that change at the very end, like still mind blowing to me, still this day. And that has been one of those characters that, you know what, again, it seems like such a basic answer, but Luke is probably the one I would love to interact with the most. Now, maybe now I need to clarify, maybe less I want to go to Toshi Station and pick up whatever it is, like the batteries, less that character, more of Empire Strikes Back, or even freaking Return of the Jedi. I mean, come on, the green lightsaber. Yeah.
So I think they confirmed it will be Return of the Jedi Luke. It will be, I think they said the Battlefront 2 Hoth outfit for Leia. Which is all white, where she's just rocking all white, white on white. And then it will be the OG New Hope Han look. So it's literally jumping like Empire for Leia, Return of the Jedi for Luke, and then OG A New Hope for Han. So those will be the outfits and that they have on, which will be interesting. Yeah,
it's a good look. It's a good look for all.
I love characters. It. That's my favorite. Yeah. That's my favorite Luke. To be honest, I love the all black on black with the black glove. I was like,
now let me
green
ask you a
lightsaber.
question. Green lightsaber, but with that version of Luke, what do you prefer? Him with the buttons on or the buttons off on the top?
Yeah, I like the buttons on, man. I like it.
Buttons on. Yeah, there you go. I want to also throw another character from the OG trilogy that would be fun to see over at the bar, over where you get your drinks. I would love to see Bib Fortuna show up.
That's a good one. Yeah. Bib Fortuna, man, I swear he shows up in a lot now. He got murdered. He got murdered in Boba Fett, so that was fun.
When he wasn't looking his best.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, man, the Jabba pals will do that to you. Let's move on to the green Psylocke for today.
If you'd only had this little green Psylocke.
So our green Psylocke is all about the Skeleton Crew, and the reason why is because the series finale ended a year ago, or show's season 1 finale. I can't say series finale just yet. Andres, very simple question. What were your thoughts on Skeleton Crew?
So honestly, with the Skeleton Crew, that was one of those things that it just, I think Skeleton Crew, I haven't finished it actually.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I haven't finished it. And here's the thing. There's a very basic reason why. And for me, it is, I was in the middle of a move when I was moving out here to Boston as well. But also on top of that, I was just getting over the disappointment for me personally of Acolyte. And it kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. And I think I kind of needed a break from Star Wars, even with same thing that happened with Mandalorian season 3. Me and my wife, we haven't finished it yet either. And it's one of those things where it's like, oh no, we'll definitely get to it. But like, I kind of felt like there was a period in which we were inundated with so much content that it was kind of just like almost becoming homework at a certain point. And that's not something that I want to feel with this franchise in particular. I mean, like, I remember I freaking loved, I was okay with Clone Wars when it first came out, but then as it gradually built, and then you were just like, man, I thought it was such a lame idea to bring Darth Maul back, but then they really made that character count with all his interactions with all the other, with his brother and with all the other various different characters. So it's one of those things where I kind of felt like, because of the fact with Clone Wars that I only had Clone Wars to worry about, that I could enjoy that a little more. Whereas I think Skeleton Crew, it came in at a weird time where I was like, I'm really liking what they're showing so far, but we were getting that. We were getting another season of Visions. We were getting so many things all at once that it almost felt like taste fatigue to a little bit. Like it's one of my favorite quotes ever is Mark Hamill over at dinner with he was having dinner with Jon Favreau and a couple other creatives as well, and he was saying, listen, I love like there are people out there that love Star Wars, that live, breathe, and eat Star Wars, but for him playing the character, he's like, I love playing Luke, but I also love ice cream, but I don't want to eat it 3 times a day. You know what I mean? But yeah, but from the first couple episodes that I saw so far, I really enjoyed the dynamic with Jude Law. I mean, Jude Law not having been in a Star Wars project until that point was just like freaking sacrilege to me. I like he felt like someone who should have been there at some point. He almost felt like the Benicio del Toro, where it was like, oh, he would have been there the entire time, and he only just showed up in Last Jedi. But honestly, from everything I've heard about Skeleton Crew, is that it was such an enjoyable experience. And did they even announce that the season 2 is going to be coming at some point?
They haven't yet. No.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, unfortunately I haven't caught up on Skeleton Crew, but it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely get to it, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think the other thing that also popped up is right when me and my wife, we were like, you know what, let's give Skeleton Crew another chance. The next week, Andor season 2 came out, and we're like, oh, okay, we got to go back to Andor now. Holy shit. But yeah, anyway, sorry. Anyway, so I can't believe it's only been a year. It feels like it was like last summer.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's funny because I think we have someone on the show who shares your opinion. RB3. I don't think you finished it either, right? I think you might have been.
Yeah, I did not finish it. Nah.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is such an interesting show because they wanted to do something different, which was aged down, and they aged it down quite a bit. The characters, the POV audience to little kids. And obviously you could say Phantom Menace did that. They kind of did that with the Phantom Menace, but this was really an aged down, just really quick series all the way throughout. Funny enough, in my opinion, Skeleton Crew first few episodes are okay to me. Maybe first 4 or 5 are okay, but I really do think the last 2 are really, really good. And it's mainly because where the story goes, that they were willing to do something a tiny bit bold, which is something you don't really see in Star Wars anymore. And it to me, it worked. So I appreciate the show. Hopefully, maybe sometime later on, you guys will give it a chance. But this, but this leads us right into. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't think we're the only ones who haven't finished this show. Unfortunately, according to the Nelson ratings, it is the lowest rated Star Wars original series of all time, even lower than Acolyte. So.
Yeah.
Well, Acolyte, that was a weird case in which so many people were hate watching that. And I'm like, like when I watch something, I don't watch something to waste my time and to hate it. It's something where I'm like, I'm hoping they turn it around. And there were moments here and there. And truthfully, I wasn't the biggest fan of Acolyte, but I could appreciate where it was going at certain points. And I will say, I would have been open to a second season, but man, I think they needed a clean ship on that front in a couple of capacities, and not necessarily in terms of like getting rid of the showrunner, but it's one of those things where I think you need to find your foot, and I think you need to sort of break it down a little more. And like for me, probably the biggest disappointments were the killing off of certain characters that I felt like they could have elongated certain things even more. I mean, yeah, but yeah, I feel like I'm trying so hard that whenever there's something about Star Wars that I don't like, that I always try to make it apparent that like, listen, I don't belong to that other crew that hates everything. You know what I mean? It's like I could actually articulate why I didn't like certain things, and I'm not going to go all vitriol on it, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it makes total sense, man. And I totally get it. It's one of those things that not every show is for everyone. And if some people want to skip some shows, to me, that's totally okay.
Yeah, you don't have to watch it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, now let's move on to our full sabacc.
Full sabacc.
So our full sabacc is all about some directors that we would want to see in Star Wars. So just right off the top, we can just casually name a few directors we would like to see, starting with you, Andres.
Yeah, I mean, oh my God, right off the bat right now, a director I would love to see play around this universe. You know, I'm riding high off of 28 years later, Bone Temple, and I truly think Nia DaCosta is such an amazing talent. I mean, like, say what you will about the Marvels. I actually enjoyed the Marvels, but that's not entirely her fault. And she did a great job with all her other things beforehand. And I will still say Candyman has some truly innovative shots and truly fantastic visionary things in that movie itself, and in terms of what they're willing to change about the lore and make it so much more impactful and modern. I think that's something that when you apply to something like Star Wars, and especially with what I think it's Tony Gilroy did. I was about to say Dan Gilroy. No, it's the other Gilroy. But yeah, but in terms of something of what Tony Gilroy did with Andor, where he was like, listen, this may be Star Wars, but it's going to be a story that I want to tell. And how could you have known? How could he have known that that first season of Andor and that second season of Andor was going to be so topical in terms of what was going on in the climate politically at that point in time? And the thing is, like, you know, like Tony Gilroy has been quoted saying that, you know, he wasn't necessarily trying to capture realism, and he was just trying to capture what would actually happen in a universe that is ruled by a dictatorship. And it just so happened it was happening right outside our door at a certain point in time. And that to me is when you have a vision and when you have something to say with this particular franchise, that it becomes the best thing that could possibly happen. And the thing is with Nia DaCosta, I think she's one of those directors that's not afraid to go to weird places in certain movies. I mean, certainly in the Marvels, she does go to some pretty weird places, but you know, especially with Candyman as well too. But it's one of those things where I feel she is very much, she's like one of us. She's like the geek that really got to play with some of these toys, but she's willing to play with them a little more different. And it may not be what you thought right off the bat, but when you come out of it, you're like, that was such a great visionary step in the story. And so Nia DaCosta is not like right off the bat right now in terms of up and comers right now. I think she would do great. I don't think, but to be honest, I don't know if she would ever work with Disney again after the Marvels thing.
So the reason why I made so many faces as you were talking is because RB3 and I have talked a lot about Nia DaCosta and how she's one of the best working directors right now, and how Marvel might have done her dirtier than any director in the history of Marvel. Because you could tell the Marvels was like 3 movies in one, and then one of those was Nia's, but they also put in like Kevin's movie and some other people's movies, and it just felt very much like this was what they were going to do. Plus the kind of stuff they were doing in the press as well from her. I don't know how much you followed that, but they were kind of releasing articles about how she wanted to leave and how she was having a bad time and trying to make her the bad guy of what that whole production was like. So I love Nia DaCosta. I think that's a fantastic choice. I want to go straight to you, RB3, obviously director RB3. What's a director you would want to see in Star Wars?
Besides myself? No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Let's see. You know, I thought about this, and I was looking at the contenders for this year's Academy Awards, and one that really stood out to me is my man Josh Safdie. You know, like honestly, either of the Safdie brothers or both of them. Maybe they reunite. You know, but you know, for a Star Wars picture. But yeah, no, definitely the Safdies
crazy.
Will be a great Star Wars. Like it'll be just nonstop action, you know, traveling different planets, people getting ripped off. Like I would love to see that. I would love to see that. I would also love to see, when we just talked about the homie on our most anticipated episode of First Cut Live recently, but Zach Kreger from Weapons.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Give me a Star Wars movie. It doesn't have to be horror. But just something, you know, something kind of different, something kind of spicy.
I like that.
Yeah. And then sorry, one more. I would love to see, I think I mentioned this plenty of times before, but again, my man, okay, either oh man, who's the brother who directed a lot of those Mandalorian episodes? Rick Famuyiwa.
Rick.
Yeah.
He was gonna do a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Oh no,
yeah.
he was. I'm thinking of someone else. My bad.
Yeah, he might have been. He might have been. But I would love to see him get a shot because he did so much great Star Wars TV. And him, and then of course, got to also represent Antoine Fuqua, director of Training Day, director of the new Michael Jackson movie coming out. Also a great director as well. So.
Yeah, those are all good choices. Yeah, I think it's cool to, the conclusion of this conversation. To me, it's all about letting directors have those creative voices. And if Lucasfilm really wants to, in my opinion, bring audiences back to Star Wars, and if when I say back, I mean current fans and making new fans. Like, how many new fans of Star Wars? I don't know how many people online I've seen that are like, oh, suddenly I'm a Star Wars fan because I love Andor. That's what that kind of creative, bold storytelling does. It brings audiences back to see a Star Wars movie. And I think having those kind of voices and trusting those voices is a good way to go for sure. So let's move on.
Wait. Andres, what are your picks?
Yeah.
You guys named a lot of mine, man. So my top one was Nia DaCosta. That's why I kind of made a lot of faces when you guys, when you were talking. So my
Sorry,
top
I stole your thunder right there, man.
The Andresses, wore the Andresses.
Yeah. I think that's a really good choice. And it's one of those choices that to me would really work, especially with her style of storytelling. That's one that I would want to see. But if I'm being real, Steven Soderbergh. I think that's another choice that I think I would have high on my list.
So a Star Wars movie shot on all iPhones, guys. Let's make this happen.
Yeah, but he did.
That should be different.
Yeah, but he does that, but he also does like other weird. He's just a really creative guy. He's just a really bold storyteller. And I know you're a Soderbergh fan too, RB3. And he's the kind of guy who will go outside the box no matter what. So that's something that I respect from him.
I just wanted to go real quick through the Oscar nominees or the Oscar contenders for Best Directors. Paul Thomas Anderson, Ryan Coogler, Chloe Zhao, Guillermo del Toro, Jakeem Trey, who did Sentiments of Value, and then Yorgos Lanthimos from Begonia. Like any of those guys, any of those people, I could also see doing a pretty rad Star Wars movie, but it'd have to be uncuffed. Like it has to be no
exactly what I said. Let him cook.
See, like here's the thing: is you mentioned Safdie, and immediately the second you said the Safdie brothers, they're very well known for making movies with very unlikable characters. And I just had an idea where I'm just like, what if they directed the Han Solo prequel movie? Like making Han Solo into such an unlikable shit that when he gets to be Harrison Ford, that he actually does grow and become that person. But sort of like the cadence and the rush of Marty Supreme, but in Star Wars, like that's something that you can only get with a director that is very confident in their vision and somebody who Disney just gets out of their way, which is what I think. It's one of the reasons I think J.J. Abrams had such a great time in terms of making that first Force Awakens movie. And, there was momentum going out of that. There was excitement going out of that because, pretty much they let J.J. make the movie that he wanted to make. So
yeah. Hopefully Lucasfilm keeps doing that because I think that's the way to go for sure. All right, now we're going to our ranking for today, which is an exciting one. We are ranking our top 5 favorite bounty hunters. Andres, I think we love bounty hunters. I'm assuming you love bounty hunters. So I want to get right to it. What is your number 5 as far as favorite bounty hunter?
You know what? I kind of feel bad that I stole your thunder right off the bat, so I'm going to let you have the opportunity to go first.
Okay. I'm starting off with the character. I mean, bounty hunters, sometimes it's just about vibes. It's not necessarily about, how many people you can kill and how much of a badass you are. And this character started off as pure vibes, and I'm going with Aura Singh. Aura Singh from The Phantom Menace. As soon as you saw her in that pod racing scene, you immediately know this character looks amazing, and you just want to know more about her. So and then obviously we developed a little bit more of her when it came to the Clone Wars, when we got those bounty hunter stories as well. So yeah, my number 5 is Aura Singh. Andres, what is your number 5?
My number 5 so far is Jango Fett. I really do love the tack that they took with him, especially with what they did in some of the prequel comics, where they pretty much just made him like, he wasn't necessarily like just the mercenary or just the bounty hunter. He was like, it was sort of like, I'm not sure if you read some of the prequel comics that came out around the time that Force Awakens came out and Disney acquired the property, but it was one of those things where they added so many layers to his character, where it's like, you know, he's not necessarily bad, but he's also not necessarily good either. And in the sense that this is a character that is forged by his upbringing, and he's just like, yeah, every relationship is transactional for him except for one, and that is Boba. And that was sort of the very interesting take that I felt with that character, where I was like, you know, not judging on what they did in Attack of the Clones, but in sort of everything that came beforehand, and also with his sort of brief appearances and some of the other animated stuff as well. No, shout out to oh my god, what is it called? Shout out to the Jenny Tarsky Clone Wars. That such an underrated series for me, I think. But yeah, Django is my number 5 so far.
That's a great number 5, man, because honestly, it's my number 4. I love Jango Fett.
I'm sorry, I stole your thunder again.
No. As a kid growing up, Attack of the Clones, one of the coolest things is seeing Jango be a complete badass and just hold his own. I've always said this: hold your own against Obi-Wan Kenobi is already just like at such a high level. That whole scene, that fight sequence is amazing. His swagger, I don't know. To me, it's one of my favorite recons that George Lucas is technically recon. When it comes to the Jango Fett Boba Fett character, because to me, Tamora Morrison just nails it. He just really delivers an amazing, like, subtle, strong performance. And that's exactly what George was looking for, that kind of warrior mentality. Like, you know, this guy's a warrior just by looking at him, which is obviously also a part of Tamora's Maori culture as well, which is a really cool thing that he has just naturally, just natural charisma and strength.
Yeah, and he also has like that look on his face of like history. History has happened. So much stuff has happened to this guy. And when you read about the actor's upbringing in particular, especially growing up over in Hawaii, I mean, like, you know, it's one of those things where I've had a couple of friends who have grown up in Hawaii, and they're like, they describe it as Alcatraz, but in Technicolor. And you sort of go, oh, why? Because you're kind of stuck there? It's like, no, it's because you're stuck there, but so is everybody else on that island. So, you know, certain things end up coming out and certain things end up happening. And you're just like, well, you know, something like that does change somebody. And something like that really kind of does give a certain perspective that someone on the mainland may not have. So that was something that I felt was very interesting for I'm going to butcher his name every time. Tamara?
Yeah, Tamara.
Okay, all right. I keep trying to stop myself from saying tomorrow. Like I'm like, oh, it's tomorrow. Yeah, but no, he absolutely lends so much to that character that's not necessarily on the page either. So yeah, absolutely.
Who is your number 4?
Oh my goodness, I feel like this is also going to be another basic answer, but I'm gonna say Bosk. I really love Bosk from Empire Strikes Back, and it's also because of the fact that I play some of the games as well too. Like I'm a huge fan of you know, Shadows of the Empire and some of the other N64 games that came out. And he was always one of those boss characters that was just like, you know, he had a small little appearance in Empire Strikes Back, and I'm not sure if he appeared in Clone Wars at all, but it's one of those where to me, he has such a great looking design and also a cadence that the second that you know, Vader's lackey just even stares at him, you almost just kind of feels like, like Bosk is holding himself back from ripping this guy apart. And it's like, listen, if he wasn't there on the job, and if the baddest motherfucker in the galaxy wasn't in front of him right now, he would tear this guy apart. So just purely on a design element, I really love Bosk.
Yeah, he's speaking of video games, he's fun to play in Battlefront 2 as well. As a massive Battlefront 2 fan that I am,
yeah,
Bosk is a blast to play. So I love Bosk. That's a great choice. My number 3, because I'm on 3 now, is it's Fennec Shand. I love Fennec Shand. I think she's great, and I think the sniper aspect of a bounty hunter is a really, really cool thing. And it's always been one of my favorite parts of the Mandalorian and Boba Fett series is the performance of Fennec Shand and how she delivers. And obviously, as an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. super fan that I am, anytime Agent May has a chance to do something cool, I'm always on board. So that is my number 3.
Oh, that's a great choice. I totally forgot about that character. That would have definitely broken my top 10. That's for sure.
Who is your number 3?
My number 3, I'm gonna have to go with Cad Bane. It feels like I'm giving such basic answers, but there is something about a bounty hunter that is, that mix of Western and that mix of just, what if Han Solo was an alien and what if he was always shooting first? You know what I mean? Like, just the design work on him, and also that weird element of the 2 tubes in his jaw. That's something that it feels like such OG trilogy Star Wars, where they weren't afraid to take risks with the designs. Shout out to Rick Baker and his design work in that original trilogy as well too. Talking about the cantina scene in particular, but yeah, I just love that character, and I loved when he appeared in Clone Wars, and then when he finally made his live action appearance. One of the rare characters that I feel when he transferred over into live action, it was seamless, and I was like, I don't feel like there's any loss in translation for that character, and he was just such a badass character, and I just love him in particular. So yeah, Cad Bane is my number 3.
Yeah, Cad Bane would be a lot of people's number 1 because he is one of the most beloved animated characters, and as you said, now live action characters as well. He's just a phenomenal character that really showcased the power of just really being a badass and being able to keep up with the Jedi in that era. I think it's a really, really cool character in general, just the way that what he represents. So my number 2, we're now at number 2, would have been my number 1. But I feel like there's something about recent years that has kind of dropped me a little bit on him in recent memory, is Boba Fett. Boba Fett is my number 2. Obviously, growing up as a kid, first time you see Boba Fett, you're immediately on board. One of the coolest designs, I think, of all time in cinema. Just a really cool design. And obviously, one of the coolest design ships of all time, in my opinion, with the original Slave One. First time you see that ship is just phenomenal. I was just...
I know why you're laughing.
What is it, the name?
Slave One.
Yeah, the fire spray 33. I guess I'll call it by the original, by the new redesign name. But I don't know if it's a redesign. But I love Boba Fett. I think he's cool. Every time he just nods and looks at Vader, and he's just a badass. I love him.
Oh yeah, it's amazing character, and I'm pretty sure we might talk about him at some point. But yeah, I mean, my number 2 is actually, okay, this is a weird thing. This is also another character that for me really, really got his due diligence in Shadows of the Empire. I always do that because it's taking place simultaneously at the same time at certain points. So Shadows of the Empire, if you played that N64 game, IG-88 is freaking terrifying. And for my love of sci-fi and my love of stuff like Terminator and my love of just those characters that will just not stop hunting you, like IG-88, it's one of those things where when you see him in Empire Strikes Back, it's one of those things where you're like, okay, how much mobility could he possibly really have? And then when you play against him as a boss character in Shadows of the Empire, and just also the vibe and the tone that the junkyard has when you're facing against him, it's actually quite moody and it's actually quite dystopian. And it's one of those things where, again, I gave so much respect to him. I mean, I was even talking to Smets about this as well, too, where I was just like, listen, IG-88 was like, oh my God, he terrified me as a kid, too. I'm like, oh my God, I thought I was the only one that was terrified of IG-88. And I love the fact that the IGs got a little more respect with Mandalorian. But I got to shout out to that OG. I got to shout out to IG-88, and he is my number 2.
Yeah, if there's anything that scene in Empire does is just go purely off look and vibes and energy. And as soon as you see IG-88, it's another design that is just so freaking cool that you just really know, like, this dude's a badass. Like, whatever this robot thing is, I'm scared of it already. So that's a great choice. Yeah. I'm already at my number 1. My number 1 is, to me, the most obvious choice for current times. And I know this is kind of, I guess, a controversial character. I don't think he's controversial. I think everyone likes him. That is the Mandalorian, Din Djarin. He is my number 1 choice. Obviously, to me, the kind of character exploration on screen that you get is more than any other bounty hunter. So that's why for me, he is going to be my number 1. I just think the dynamic energy and everything he brings with him as a character, whether he's being a badass dad or whether he's being a sympathetic figure, I think he's got a lot of range to him. So that's why the Mandalorian is my number 1.
Oh, absolutely. And to even go off that as well, too, he narrowly made my list as well. He was at number 5 for a long time. And then I got into a couple of my other characters and I was just like, oh man, but just one element that I really love about Din Djarin and Mandalorian is that he sort of has the Dexter element where he's a character that's telling us that he doesn't feel and he doesn't care about anything except his creed. But then you start to see that there are little cracks in the armor, if you will, on that front. And, what is his true allegiance there? And it's about a guy who wants to be perceived as a monster and who wants to be perceived as a cold-blooded killer, slowly finding out that he does have a soul. And I think that's one of the main reasons why that character works so well as he does. It feels like I keep saying this, it feels like a very George Lucas thing of like someone rediscovering their humanity. And that's why I think that character really works so incredibly well. And also we have to thank him for being the greatest space dad on the planet as well too.
For real. I'm pretty sure I know your number 1, but Andres, what is your number 1?
My number 1, it's Boba Fett, man.
Yep.
It's Boba Fett. And feels like such a basic bitch answer, but I love Boba Fett. I mean, going into all the reasons that I love him as opposed to, everyone goes, oh, he's dark and he's mysterious and stuff like that. But he's also just one of those characters that he didn't have a true allegiance in that OG trilogy. He just had a motive, money. That's it. And the fact is that character in particular, like there was such history and such experience that you got from that character only from his design work in every capacity. Like he wasn't clean. His paint had a lot of chips on it. He had a giant little dent on the top of his helmet. And all those just led to more and more questions. It's one of those things where it's a big lesson I learned from Guillermo del Toro, where he's like, a true test of a character's design work is when you can see flaws in the design. So like, looking at his designs in Pacific Rim, it's very much just like there are chips everywhere. There's like, exposed wires here and there. And the other thing too, with Boba Fett in particular, like there's so many things in his design that you kind of go like, what is the practicality of that? And, it just looks cool. But I also love the fact that they all serve sort of like a hidden utility, if that makes sense. Like even his little antenna. We thought it was an antenna. No, it's a visor. It's a scouter. but also just seeing like just how much of a Swiss Army knife he was at certain points in time. But yeah, no, Boba Fett absolutely is my favorite bounty hunter. I mean, bar none. Just on vibes alone, and just on making such a big splash with very few screen time. And then also on top of that, I love the design of Slave One. I mean, I have a figure of Slave One, and the thing that's really cool about it is that it actually has the cockpit that will adjust and has a gyro inside. So when you turn it upside down, Boba will actually adjust to where it is. And I just love that outside the box thinking for that particular ship. That I'm just like, yep, you can't help but just love that character.
it's my favorite ship of all time. And yeah, as everything you said, I echo. Boba Fett, just the energy he brings on screen is absolutely beautiful. I appreciate hearing your thoughts, man. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate your time too, man. Andres, where can everyone find you, man?
Ooh, this is the thing that everyone on Film on Tap makes fun of me for. But you can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Gallegos. You can also find me on Letterboxd as Gallegos. You can also find me on twitch.tv as Gallegos88. And you can also find me on Film on Tap, where we got the tap that never runs out, where we talked with my wonderful co-host Nancy Rodriguez and Tom Chalabash, and we just talk movies every 2 weeks or so. We would love to have both of you guys in and talk something in the future. Maybe we can get you on board for Mandalorian and Grogu at some point. Maybe.
Yeah,
we'll think about it,
man.
Yeah. But yeah, you can also find me on there. You can also find me editing on my YouTube page as well too. I love doing these little mashups with certain projects. Probably my favorite one is my favorite one that I mashed up, and I think you might have seen it, but it was what if Avengers Age of Ultron had the Silvestrini score instead of the Danny Elfman score. So putting back the theme. I do fun stuff like that on my YouTube channel. So you can find that on YouTube, youtube.com/Gallegos. And you can also find me on the High Voltage Media channel, doing a couple edits and doing a couple retrospectives with my buddy Steve. And you can also find me editing a good friend of mine, David Jadoy, and his show Cinemojis, which if you haven't seen Cinemojis yet and you're craving that little movie trivia thing that, the Schmodown kind of scratch that itch for you, I highly recommend that show. It's at youtube.com/Cinemojis, David Jadoyan. Love that dude and love the show and love working on it. And I highly recommend anybody check it out. And that's pretty much one of many places you can find me.
Dope, man. Dope. And obviously, before we go, RB3, I'm so sorry, man. I want to get to some of your favorite bounty hunters too, man. Do you have any that we probably haven't named?
I actually don't have any bounty hunters.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I was gonna ask, so is Captain Phasma a bounty hunter or nah, not really?
No, she's not.
Oh no.
Phasma, no. From the sequel trilogy?
Yeah.
No, she's not. No, definitely not.
Okay. She worked for the Empire. Okay.
She works for the Empire, and yeah, she's a commander in the Empire. Yeah.
I do want to say that we do have a couple people in the chat. Shout out to the 5 people who've been watching. Kevin Davis said, Star Wars fan base always attacking everything. They deserve some of the blame. Yeah, that's true.
True.
Yeah.
Paula 1966 says, hello, First Cut Studios. I have a question for you both. Do you think Keanu Reeves would play a great Darth Revan? I heard that Abel Loft was returning in Ahsoka Season 2, and Natalie Portman might be returning as Padme, and Ab Loft will take her form to deceive Anakin.
That's a good rumor. I haven't heard that, but that's probably gonna happen. That's really, really interesting. Yeah, I don't know about Keanu Reeves, but because Revan for the most part is covered, but everything else I could totally see that happening in Ahsoka Season 2.
Yeah, I think Keanu appearing at some point is an inevitability because he just has like that face that fits any franchise.
I'm the biggest Keanu Reeves fan. I wouldn't want to cover his face is what I'm trying to say. I definitely would want to see him as a Star Wars character. I think he'd be amazing, especially after having, I mean, that's another conversation. They did Trinity dirty, but Carrie Ann Moss in Star Wars as well. But yeah, I appreciate everyone in the chat. Appreciate everyone joining. Obviously, RB3, I appreciate you the most. You're the one who puts everything together. So wanted to give you a chance to shout out some bounty hunters. So my bad for not getting to you right away. But where can everyone find you, RB3?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Director RB3.
And you can find me at Squad Leader Ace on all social media. And make sure you subscribe to First Cut if you haven't done so already. Make sure you follow us on social media as well, at First Cut TMO. We will be posting more and more videos about Star Wars, about Marvel, about new movies coming out, about award season, all that good stuff. So make sure you follow us there. Either way, guys, for the Sabacc the Block crew, we're going to be peacing out. So peace, deuces.